Welcome to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. In today's we're discussing natural gas, the widowmaker. I've been trying to warn everybody, all the bulls, for weeks and weeks and weeks now, since we were all the way up here, that natural gas was likely going to make new lows and take out these pivots. Well, the time has come. Natural gas bears, we have officially starting to test and take out these little lower boundary pivots. We basically got to close at the dead lows today on Nat Gas. And what was interesting, there was an intraday bounce where the bulls tried bouncing it here and then they just got absolutely slaughtered and sold into. So the bearish setup right now in natural gas is slowly starting to play out here, just like what we've discussed. I do not hold a position yet in natural gas. I am starting to get curious and very intrigued at how the market is reacting here. Specifically speaking, look at this trend line, this high pivot to this high pivot, all through this consolidation chop. Low pivot test. You got to bounce off of this level, and now you got another daily close right back below that resistance, right back below that support. So since it's a daily close below support, that support is now flipped to resistance. So what's interesting is I do think that natural gas is going to pierce and break the sub $2 level. There's so many people that have piled in here on the long side and have been waiting and holding natural gas for over a year now. Well, just about a year coming up. And now they're potentially break even. So as a long investor, when 1 year of price action goes by and you're basically down or flat on your investment, and this is looking like it's in another downtrend, do you call the quits? Do you cut it? Do you freak out? Do you get out? Well, I do think that there's going to be a whole host of investor resolve tested here, especially if we lose these pivots at the lows around 205, which we're actually testing right now. Now, my downside target, again, there's a few levels I'm watching. If we actually adjust this trend line now and we bring it all the way through your high pivot now and these lows and this low, you can see that natural gas will have some support right around the 180, 190 range. There's also a big support channel, parallel channel connecting this high pivot, this low pivot, connecting this low pivot, and connecting this recent high pivot. So that'll also be a massive level on the charts to trade against. That's sitting around 197. So if we break that sub $2 level in around the 197, 190, that's where I'm going to start accumulating a position on the long side, technically speaking. Now, it takes a lot of guts to buy down here, but again, they say when there's blood in the streets, that's typically when you want to be buying natural gas. Now, in order for those people that don't know how to trade natural gas, it's a wild commodity. This one could overshoot. It could absolutely blow my 190, 195 target out of the water. It could go 185, 175. There's always a chance that this commodity can go lower. It has a notorious history of overshooting both the upside and the downside targets. So let's just trade this cautiously. Never go all in at a one level, even if it's a massive technical support level. You just want to build up a core position. Allocate what your portfolio percentage is to this trade and divide it in by a few different entries so that in the event that it does go lower, you could work and dollar cost average down this position to build in a very core solid average for the inevitable bounce. I do think that later in 2024, the second half, natural gas is probably going to be back to these highs, maybe even at $4, which seems like a long shot right now. But I do think that there's a strong chance to get a beautiful long-term and swing trade out of this underlying commodity. Now, there's something that I'm going to show you. So if you take this high move here, this high pivot down to your low pivot, that was roughly a $1.46 decline, 39.78%. If you replicate that same measured move from that high pivot down to your low, it gives us a target on natural gas of roughly 168. So just understand that natural gas could go all the way down to 168. Now I just said in the earlier video, I'm looking to start accumulating in and around the 195, 188 area, but I will always have the ability to leave myself some maneuverability in the event that this goes lower. So again, just understand that there is a scenario where it can go to $1.69. It could even overshoot that to the downside, but we as traders and investors have to take our shot somewhere. Now, a lot of people are commenting on, is this a weekly head and shoulders? The fact that you have this big blow off move, a left shoulder here, head, right shoulder, and you're basically breaking the neckline as we speak. You can clearly see the neckline has been breached last week and then confirming the break this week. Typically, when Head and Shoulders trigger at the lows of the charts, they have a very, much lower degree of probability of playing out. For instance, if this was to play out, I mean, you're looking at a negative natural gas, right? So again, if you had to do that measured move, you're talking natural gas going about sub 570. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Could it happen? Maybe. Oil went negative. I'm certainly not basing my case though on negative natural gas. I do think that it's has a whole host of uses and it's a staple in our society and it's not going anywhere. But again, just understand there's risks when trading these commodities because they do have a tendency to be manipulated in the short term and they do have a strong tendency to overshoot targets. Hopefully this video helps. Hopefully I've been able to keep some of the natural gas bulls out of this trade, at least on the long side, saving their butt from this massive decline, because I know there's a bunch of you out there that have already started accumulating positions, that have already started accumulating BOIL. If you're a long BOIL, which is what, a 2x levered, and natural gas falls another 17%, that's another 34% decline. So again, can your portfolio sustain that? Can you sustain that? Can your emotions sustain that? Because this one, again, has a strong momentum right now to the downside. And even though it's at some double bottom support here, it still could pierce, and I do think it will pierce that level. Please give this video a like down below. If you're interested in how I'm trading natural gas, please definitely check out my www.tradingcapital.ca Discord, and you'll have access to all of my swing trade and day trading alerts. Again, at these levels, natural gas is a beautiful day trading vehicle, but it doesn't fulfill my swing trade criteria just yet. It's getting close, but not quite yet. Please give this video a like down below, and hopefully it has helped people. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later.